Frankie Edgar versus Chad Mendes. I'm so excited for this matchup for a number of reasons. We have Frankie Edgar, who has been on a tear and is always exciting to watch. Chad Mendes has been at the top for quite some time now, and he's well-rounded at this point, probably one of the hardest hitters in the division. This is a tight matchup, and I can't wait. I'm Tyler, and this is Rapid MMA. Let's begin with Chad Mendes because I think the general consensus is that he's a wrestler with an overhand right. While that is still a big asset, he's added much more to his arsenal that his opponents need to be aware of. The first to note is the switching of stances. He'll switch to southpaw every so often for brief moments to throw a left straight, or he'll angle outside of his opponent's lead foot, turn his hip, throw his left jab, and finish with the right hook or overhand right. Another technique shows him changing levels, feinting with the left, then throwing a big right uppercut. The other option to this is baiting to try to get his opponent to throw a punch. He'll duck under and throw the uppercut. This was effective against his fight with Jose Aldo. Since there's quite a few little tricks Chad uses, I'll mention one more. His opponents are always watching for Chad's right hand. Obviously, Chad can't just wing it every time and hope it lands, so he fakes with it to get his opponent to lean to the right. That's when he'll throw a left hook. He'll also double or even triple the hook, pressuring forward. Another very effective technique against Jose Aldo. These techniques show his striking versatility and also mask his power shots, and with Chad being one of the most powerful in the division, it's important not to stay in the pocket with him too long. This is what makes the fight so awesome on paper. The constant threat of Chad's knockout versus Frankie's ability to stick and move. Frankie's movement is constant. He never circles in one direction too long. He is always feinting and baiting. He doesn't always throw the same combos. We've recently seen him throwing more kicks, including a nice turning side kick. He uses his wrestling in interesting ways, sometimes faking a knee pick and coming up with strikes, and vice versa. He switches stances, but mostly throws from orthodox. He likes to throw uppercuts in the clinch. I could go on and on, but basically, he's very crafty and always seems to have something new we haven't seen before, even if it's minute. The ground game is what I'm really unsure about. Both are good wrestlers, but I really don't know how they're going to match up against each other. Mendes is very comfortable with staying in full guard or passing to half and working from there. I don't think he's going to be able to keep Frankie down long enough, so we'll probably see a lot of grappling against the fence. Again, this is a hard one to determine who would get the upper hand, especially as the fight drags on. I think a lot of the grappling will be negated from both sides, and we're left with a fight on the feet. There are some interesting statistics though that are important to note. Chad Mendes' takedown average is 4.23, while Frankie Edgar's is 2.73. Mendes' takedown accuracy is 54.55%. while Frankie's is only 38.13%. Here's a big one. Chad Mendes' takedown defense is at 100%. He hasn't been taken down. Frankie Edgar has defended 65% of takedowns, which is still a good stat, but we can see on paper Chad Mendes has the grappling advantage. So let's play out the scenarios and determine possible outcomes. For Chad, he needs to pressure Frankie and cut off the cage. He absolutely cannot allow Frankie to be as mobile as he's been in his last fights. Following Frankie around and allowing him to circle out away from the cage is going to lead him to losing the fight to the judges. I like the way Chad switches to southpaw and leads with the left straight. I also like how he doubles up on his hooks. If he can keep Frankie's back against the cage to make Frankie react by punching his way out, Chad will be able to counter, and I'm not so sure Frankie will be able to recover. On the other side, Frankie has to be effective with the strikes. Sharp jabs down the middle and leg kicks, then cutting the angle, are going to keep Mendes off balance and always one step behind. He has to keep an eye on Chad when he switches to southpaw and not lose the footwork battle, allowing him to get outside position and throwing. Tricky combinations and level changes will also work well. I don't see Frankie knocking out Mendes, so he'll have to grind out another decision in this fight. His movement is key, and if he can dominate the footwork, he shouldn't have a problem with outpacing Mendes. In conclusion, I think we see a crazy first couple rounds. I definitely think Mendes will land something heavy in this fight and rock Frankie, but I still think he's sharp enough to keep his wits about him and get back in it, as long as the ref doesn't stop it. As the fight gets midway through the third, we'll begin to see Frankie outpointing and boxing Chad. This will be a close contest, but I think Frankie will pick up another split decision victory. I think he'll make Chad miss his big power shots, and Chad will begin to gas. Of course, Chad is always dangerous, and his cardio isn't bad, but he slows down, whereas Frankie is constantly moving, keeping about the same tempo in the last round as he does in the first. Betting odds show Frankie as a slight favorite to Chad Mendes, so if you're going to bet, here are my tips. If you're betting on Chad, bank on him finishing this fight in the first round. That's when he's most dangerous and when most knockouts occur. If you choose to go with Frankie, I'd definitely say go with him winning by decision. As I said before, I think Frankie can weather the storm and pull out a decision victory. Please comment below with your picks and how you think this fight will go down. I'm Tyler with Rapid MMA, and I'll see you in the next one.